Yeah, I always think it's coming in there.
Bounce, bounce, pass. Sports. Pass, kick, pass. Ball, dunk it.
What?
Funk it.
Sure.
Serve it.
Here.
Work it. Jocular. We're about to get jocular.
Hello.
Welcome to Jocular, the show where three best buds gossip about women's sports.
That's right.
I am Tian Tren, she, her.
Yeah, Fight Master, they, them.
Katie Kershaw. She, her.
Today we've got an interview with Rose Eveleth, whose new podcast, Tested, tells the very interesting sort of investigative reporting story of mandatory sex verification testing in sports. And we're going to have, not my words, these words were given to me, probably a stupid game.
I don't think it's going to be stupid.
I don't think it's going to be stupid either.
Harry, you got to believe in your work, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
If we believe in you, you have to believe in you.
Yes.
Sisters doing it for themselves.
I mean, my
Sisters
God.
doing it.
Believe women. Was that bad?
No.
No. Let's discuss what's kind of hot. What's kind of steaming? What's like a big steaming
Are you?
pile in our group chat?
Katie, are you okay?
No.
You guys still
What?
kissing your partners?
Okay.
Yes.
I am still kissing my partner, but I think maybe why I seem a little off is that my partner's been out of town. I miss her a lot, and so I'm just kind of walking around my house like.
See, I
Oh.
firmly don't believe that partners should be allowed to travel.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm allowed to travel. My partner's
Oh.
not allowed to travel unless we're going somewhere together.
So this is incredibly healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
what you and your wife
that's-
do?
Yes.
What?
Is that what you and your wife do?
I mean, we let each other travel.
What?
We let each other travel separately together.
No.
But we did long distance for a very long time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. You're like fortified. You're
We're fortified.
Steel tested.
We're
Yeah, we did distance for a long time, but not really. It was like 6 months. So
But
I guess in the
that's,
grand scheme, yeah,
that's a good chunk of time.
yeah. But now it's like we live together. I'm used to having her there all the time, and so yeah, I'm just walking around the house going.
I think the longest time I've been away from my partner since we started dating was tour.
Oh,
how was that?
How was it?
Well, I'm having her. I've talked to the doctors. It is possible. I'm gonna have her shrunk,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
and I'm gonna get her attached to a keychain, and I'm
Oh.
gonna put her around my belt, and she's never allowed to be alone ever again.
That's so nice.
I love this for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense for the two of you.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
again, incribly healthy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people might say that that's fucked up. Like you need space and you need time apart.
No,
I don't.
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
If I needed it, I would like it.
Exactly. She's the keys to your heart, so like,
Yeah.
why not have her be a key?
So I'm gonna walk around my heart locked all the time. What
Yeah,
the
no.
hell are
What
we
the hell are we
talking
talking about?
about?
Yeah.
Come on.
Whenever Kai goes out of town, my first instinct is I watch every bit of television that she doesn't like, which famously my girlfriend doesn't like costumes. So that means there's a lot of TV I have to watch. And then I run out of it and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now?
What does she like to watch?
What does she like?
Reality? That would be like the only thing that's like technically not.
Yeah,
a
not
costume.
costumes.
No, she's fine. What you know what I mean by costumes.
Like
here's how.
period.
Yeah,
Bridgerton.
yes.
okay,
She would
like
never.
House of Dragon.
Yeah, when we first started dating, we were doing like a long distance drive and we were like still kind of getting to know each other, and I was like, oh, did you ever watch Game of Thrones? And just flatly, without looking at me, she said, no, I don't like costumes. And I fell
That's so
in love
hot.
deeper than I can ever explain.
That's so hot.
Yeah, so I watch my
Man.
costume shows,
But okay.
but then I'm like, as soon as that day is up, I'm like, I wish she was on a keychain, or I wish I was on her keychain. And
I'll give you my doctor because when I get my
Thank you.
gal shrunk,
yeah.
you can there might be like a 2-for-1.
Okay, is there?
Ooh, BOGO. If you can get your gal shrunk BOGO style.
Jocular brought to you by BOGO
BOGO
Shrinkers.
BOGO shrinkers.
Yeah.
Use code Jocular Shrink.
Yeah.
BOGO Shrinkers is our first ad we've got for the pod. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, before we started recording, I realized there was a piece of sports goss that you all didn't know.
No, please tell us.
It happened a few weeks ago, but Michaela Skinner, who was in the Olympics in Tokyo for U.S. gymnastics, won silver in vault. Had always been like trying for the gymnastics team for years and years and years and years. Every trial she was like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. So she is there. She did one event. She did vault. And that's great. All of that's awesome. But after the U.S. women's gymnastics trial, where pretty much everyone got injured, everyone we thought that was going to make the team
sucked.
Got injured. So people we weren't expecting to see back are back. And that's awesome. All the athletes are fucking phenomenal. And I think all of them so many people getting injured, we need to look at how we train women athletes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that really, really needs to be discussed, and like how we pace people, especially in these sports that really you're training towards the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
How are you pacing that? I think is a really interesting question. But Skinner came on and did like this like Instagram live or TikTok or whatever, and was like, I don't think athletes today work hard enough, except for Simone. I don't think any of them work hard enough.
Kind of
like
a Kim
they're not
Kardashian
good.
moment.
I mean, really
truly.
don't like these moments.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to fucking work.
Nobody
anymore.
works hard anymore. It's like a Carly Lloyd energy. Like it's like I don't. Okay,
It's not a good look.
it's
It's
really
such a
not.
bad look. And Simone just responded with, "Not everyone needs to talk."
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah. Not everyone needs to have a platform. And
Ooh,
about
that,
how,
I completely agree with.
yeah. I want to get the wording of what Simone said, so it's, I don't want to be on page 6 about how I'm misquoting Simone Biles.
What you might be.
Well, famous rivalry between me and Simone.
I have a Google alert for Katie Kershaw and Simone Biles.
Okay, Simone Biles is standing up for her squad. The celebrated gymnast. Not everyone needs a mic and a platform.
Jesus.
She did
Besides
mention her
Simone,
by
I feel like
name.
the talent and the depth just isn't like what it used to be. I'm sorry. It's not, you have gold medalist Sunisa Lee on the fucking team, and you're telling me there's no talent and depth to this team.
But it's especially badass to come back like that when it starts with besides Simone. I feel like the talent and depth just, and so for Simone Biles to be like, you don't need to talk.
No. And so Riviera, who's also on the team this year, she's 16. What's interesting about her is that she is coached by Nastia Lukin's dad. Nastia Lukin was a gold medalist gymnast for the U.S. for, I think, 2 games.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Nastia's father, who was her coach, has been like trying to get another Olympian for a while, and there's this whole conversation that he doesn't pace them correctly. And so people are getting blown out. They're like getting injured before the time comes. And then this has been his shot at really making a name for himself to have this 16-year-old make the team, who, do we know if she would have made the team or not if the injuries hadn't occurred?
I see.
What are the primary injuries that are happening for Is it ACL like it is for basketball?
It's a lot of ACL, a lot of ankles, because all of that landing the way you do. So from what I've seen, it's mainly like knee, hip, ankle.
Wait, Carrie, can you pull that back? Because this next part is honestly the girls just don't have the work ethic. She continued before referencing the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, a nonprofit organization helping to end abuse in athletics. And it's hard to because of safe sport.
Yeah.
Coaches can't get on athletes, and they have to be really careful about what they say. Oh.
So she's arguing that the athletes aren't as good anymore because they're not being abused.
That's exactly what she's arguing.
Okay, icon.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible stance.
I'm going to say
Great platform.
Enemy
Way
of
to
the
use
pod.
it. Enemy of the pod.
Enemy of the pod, Michaela Skinner.
I've got to say that's a hard limit for me. I hate an argument like that. You hear that kind of shit all the time, especially like generationally. Like, when they talk about kids having all these, they're boundarying their way out of a job. When you present the argument that people should be abused and abuse is making them better, you are bad. An enemy of the pod.
Such an enemy of the pod.
Enemy of the pod.
Newly named enemy of the pod, so she has another trophy, Michaela Skinner.
Enema of my bod. Enemy
of the pod.
Carrie, don't cut that.
Keep it in.
Keep it in. Thank you for giving us that dish.
I mean, I love USA Gymnastics.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna stuff at you.
And I love you. And I'm gonna and you and Harry. I love USA Gymnastics, and USA Gymnastics men are poised to actually have a decent gymnastics year, because they generally do not. Our men are pretty bad at gymnastics. But there's this one guy, young guy in particular. I wasn't expecting to talk about men, so I can't remember his name. But his goal is to get gold and to like kind of bring glory to USA men's gymnastics.
I love anybody who's trying to bring glory.
Bring glory.
I love when they try to bring glory.
Glory.
Speaking of USA, the USA women's basketball team is going to be doing a friendly / not so friendly, probably game against the WNBA All-Stars.
That's such a cool.
It's awesome.
It's gonna be so fun. Can you picture Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese playing on the same team?
I'm excited to see them play together.
I'm so excited to see them play together.
I actually think they might be a good pairing because their skills are so opposite each other.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Angel Reese just needs a good point guard to feed it into her, and she can score.
I'm obsessed with Angel Reese. I'm sorry. I just been like
she's my favorite player.
She's unbelievable.
I was just watching. This is like kind of gossipy, but I was just watching a live stream of Angel Reese getting interviewed, I think, with the rest of the team. And
oh my gosh, yes.
Did you see this?
I did.
And a reporter, I guess, was like talking to his girlfriend on this live stream, and he didn't mute his thing. And so he's having an active fight with his partner.
Oh my God.
But he's not muted himself on the Zoom. And so he's like, I don't even want to sleep with other people. I don't know why you're saying that. And it's saying it into a microphone over Zoom while Angel Reese is like,
I thought.
Wait, they're discussing like the open.
It's that they're on like a Zoom call, like the interview is being done on Zoom. So all these reporters have to unmute themselves in order to ask questions.
Oh my God!
And he doesn't realize that he's not muted. That's what I thought it was, Katie. What is it?
I heard.
You want to hear the clip? I have the clip.
Yes!
I heard it was a clip from someone was watching How I Met Your Mother.
No.
I don't know which one is more devastating.
But of course, you said the most consecutive double-doubles being surpassing Candace Parker. So you mentioned before that you've always modeled your game after her. So I guess just talk about what's it like being in the same conversation.
Ever going to happen into my relationship? I'm sorry, the last part cut off because sometimes
that's an uncomfortable topic.
Excuse me? Can some? I didn't hear. I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question, Jordan? We have some background noise.
And being intimate with anyone.
What is going on?
They're being weird on that. Yeah, somebody's microphone is on.
I'll say this.
Oh my
It was How I Met Your Mother. It should have been How I Met Your Father,
starring Tien Tran.
Sorry, is that? Did it say How I Met Your Mother?
Big Bang Theory is what this
Even
is.
more!
Oh my God.
Honestly, that's like
They talk about intimacy and Big Bang Theory.
USA men's gymnastics
we're back to
star is Frederick Richard.
Okay, cool.
He was born when I was a junior in high school.
And that makes him a lesbian.
and that makes him a lesbian.
So we're allowed to talk
about him. Angel Reese did just break the record for most consecutive double-doubles.
Yes.
And she beat,
was it Candace Parker?
Candace Parker.
Oh my gosh, that All-Star game is going to be so fun.
I can't
Who are you
wait.
going to root for, the All-Stars or Team USA?
All-Stars. I like an underdog, and it feels
Team
like
USA.
I
want their confidence.
Me
to
too.
be
I kind of
high.
want Team USA too.
I want a gold medal for our gals.
I want us to get a gold medal, but I want the All-Stars to win because I like the underdog story, and then I want them to be like, I can't believe the All-Stars beat us. Let's go whip the world.
Oh my God,
it's like when you go home for, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like
I've never gone home.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. On like winter break, I remember you could like some of our alumni would come back and they'd play our basketball team, our high school basketball team. It'd be like the alumni game, right? And straight up, the alumni would always beat our fucking ass. It was crazy. Like they had something to prove, and that's kind of what I want. I want Team USA to actually like beat the All-Stars into the ground.
I kind of want that too because I can just imagine the annoying ass discourse that would happen if the All-Stars beat Team USA. And then you'd have like these men who've literally never watched women's basketball be like that's why Caitlin Clark should be on the roster.
Look like they picked wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
too many lesbians, not enough Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that is what they would say.
Okay, well I don't want that to happen, but whatever. Anyway, we're gonna take a break.
We're gonna take a little break.
And when we get back, we'll have our interview with Rose Eveleth.
Get jocular.
Welcome back.
Woo!
Woo! Katie and I talked with Rose Eveleth, who's got a great new podcast, Tested, that premieres this week. So let's go to our conversation.
The interview.
Today, we have a very exciting interview with Rose Eveleth, the host of the new podcast, Tested. It follows the story of elite female runners who have been told they can no longer race as women because of their biology.
And we got to listen to a couple of episodes of the show, and it is incredible and also
obsessed.
Incredibly timely and important, and I think a must listen for truly any sports fan and anyone with a heart and a brain.
Yeah. And Rose, would you mind introducing yourself and your pronouns?
Sure. I'm Rose Eveleth, they, them.
Rose, what got you hooked on sports? And does your passion for sports influence your work?
Oh my God, yes. So I have loved sports since I was a wee child, tiny human. And I think probably like many of you and people listening to the show, was a tomboy, right? And really wanted to play sports with the boys and was not allowed to play sports with the boys. And I played soccer. I ran the 800, which is one of the events that, some of the athletes in this story run. And I've always just been a big sports fanatic person. And so I I did science for a while, but have always loved sports. And then I worked at 30 for 30 for a bit, making their podcast. And anytime I can combine sports and science and these big ideas are it's my dream space to work in, because I think there's so many really interesting questions and places to go. And I've been obsessed with this story for 10 years. So I'm really so excited that I actually finally get to have people listen to it. But yeah, I've always been a big sports nerd, which is very funny because my parents are so not sports people.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they were that's great for you, honey.
Oh.
My parents are very funny because they're very hands-off parenting style, and they were if I asked to learn to do something or did something, they would be okay, sure, I'll figure that out. But they would never I didn't learn how to ride a bike, and when I finally asked my parents why didn't I learn how to bike? They were well, you didn't ask to learn how to ride a bike. I was I feel that you're supposed to be in charge of that part, But I did ask when I was 12. I was I really want to learn to scuba dive, so I got scuba certified when I was 12.
Whoa!
And so that just sort of weird skills and weird things like that. So when I was I want to go and do this thing, play sports and do soccer or play, run track, they were okay, sure.
If it wasn't coming from your parents, who was that person or groups of people, or what was it that you were seeing that made you want to scuba dive?
Yeah.
Oh, scuba dive was definitely I was really into Jane Goodall as this outdoorsy,
wow.
I read her autobiography as a child, and I don't know if you have probably also read her autobiography, but there's a scene in it where she goes and basically hides in the chicken coop for hours and hours and hours to watch what's going on with the chickens, and the parents can't find her. And I was great. And so I did that, but I did not have the same lovely experience where they're oh, LOL, this child is so quirky. My parents called the cops, or our kid's missing.
Oh, no!
But and then I was really into marine biology, and I was great, I'm going to be the Jane Goodall of the sea. This is going to be my thing.
Yes.
This is what I'm going to do with my life. Did not work out quite that way, but yes. So it was a lot of watching nature documentaries and being obsessed with the ocean, and there's weird stuff in there. The ocean is
in
weird.
The ocean? Yeah.
Yeah, the ocean is freaky.
The ocean is freaky and scary, honestly.
We know nothing about it.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't know anything.
And maybe we shouldn't. Sometimes I'm what? Is that our place? I don't know.
Oh, I'm fine to know
fine.
nothing.
I'm fine to know nothing.
Fine. Absolutely fantastic about knowing nothing.
Yeah, you should at some point Google sea pig, and you'll be that's all I need to know.
Sea pig?
Sea pig.
Oh, we're absolutely going to be Googling that.
We will.
But for our listeners who might not, know or haven't heard any of the ads coming through, can you give us a quick rundown of what Tested is all about? I'm so excited that you're finally getting to share this with everyone. It's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, so Tested is a story about broadly sort of the history and present of so-called gender verification policies in sports, which is a phrase that I think a lot of people hear and go like, what? What is that? Why is that a thing? Basically, as soon as women were allowed to compete in the Olympics in particular and on the track in particular, immediately people in charge, mostly men, were like, oh God, these do not look like women. These don't seem like women. We need to check and verify that these are really women because like they're too fast, they're too strong, they don't look right. This isn't what women are supposed to be doing. And so in 1928, first year women are allowed to compete in the Olympics, you have people saying, she's too fast to be a woman, she's too strong, she looks like a linebacker, like all of this stuff in the newspapers. And from there were these policies. Over the years, 1936 is the first official one where they can pull aside any female athlete and check her to make sure she's actually a woman. And these policies have persisted. So in 1966, they decided that instead of having this be a case-by-case situation, they were actually going to examine every single female athlete who showed up to compete. So for 2 years, every female athlete who competed in elite level track and field went through what's called the nude parades or the peek and poke tests, where they were taken into a room and asked to get naked and examined to make sure that their vulva looked right, I guess, and were actually women. And they would get a little card, a certificate of femininity, that they had to bring with them to every event. In 1968, that switched to a chromosome test. So they were testing every single woman, cheek swab, to make sure you have the right chromosomes. And those tests were not dropped until 1999.
Jesus Christ.
Now we're in this new era of sort of sex testing where instead of sort of testing every single woman to see if they're really a woman, we now have these policies that largely affect women with sex variation, where they're saying, okay, well, sure, you're a woman, but you're too strong, you have too much testosterone. And so there's this new set of policies that say that women who have certain kinds of what they call DSDs or differences of sex development have to take medications they don't want in order to lower their testosterone level to be able to compete in the female category. And these, medications have all sorts of side effects. And I've been following around the world these women who are trying to take them so that they can comply with the rules and make it to Paris, to the Olympics that are coming up. And sort of the decisions they've had to make. Do you decide to try and play by the rules and take these drugs that you don't really know anything about? Or do you say, no, I'm going to fight this in court? We're following one person who's trying that route. And so it's sort of like from 100 years ago to today, all of these questions about what it means to be like too fast to be a woman or like not really a woman and how that still is playing out in sports.
I love that people will support like hormone therapies when it fits into their lane. Like that is a gender affirming care. Like how can we make sense of the fact that we are forcing these athletes to take this minute and alter themselves
to fit some level of like rules that that are changing all the time, as you've mentioned.
Yes. Well, it's such a great point because there's also the fact that these athletes that I'm following are mostly none of these athletes that I'm currently following on this series are trans athletes. These are all what we might call intersex athletes, DSD athletes. There's a lot of different words people use. They are allowed to compete if they take these medications and lower their testosterone levels. Trans women are not allowed to compete in track and field. They are banned completely right now. And what's so like mind melting about this story, I mean, there are a million things, but one of the things that for me is the most galling as like a trans person is like when you ask, the World Medical Association comes out and says, it is actually medically unethical to force women to take medications they do not want or need to compete in the sex category they already occupy. Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
And World Athletics, who is the governing body of track and field, will respond saying, no, this is gender affirming care. To which every practitioner that I've talked to almost has been like, no, forcing someone to take medication they don't want is not in fact
it's not gender affirming care.
It's not.
And then also like the people who do want to be taking this, trans women who want to, like that is gender affirming care, are not allowed to compete. So it's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like I just have it's very mind melting.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, what are we doing here, guys? Like it is men that are terrified.
Yes. Also, I think it's so interesting I feel like today there's this, and from 100 years ago, this fear that like cis men are going to dress up as women to compete in these, and you're like, hello, it's been policed for so long.
It's never happened, in fact. It's never one time.
Yeah, Juwanna Mann is not a true story. What inspired you to like create Test? Was there like a moment or... I think you've talked about some other athletes like Caster Semenya's story. Is that where it started for you, or? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I was an intern, a wee intern in the content minds at Scientific American in 2011, and I was like looking for something to write about, and I actually first came across the story of I was doing a lot of work on assistive technology, so like prosthetics and these like fancy schmancy like bionic limbs and stuff. And I came across the story of a different South African runner named Oscar Pistorius. This is before he became infamous for murdering his girlfriend.
Right.
That had not happened yet. But he was known as the Blade Runner, right? He's a double amputee, would run on these sort of cheetah blades. And there was this big debate about whether he should be allowed to compete against able-bodied runners because he maybe would have an unfair advantage. And like, I think that's really interesting. Like, what does that mean? How do you measure that? And if you have an N of one, basically, of one person, like how do you even, like what would that look like sort of scientifically? And so I wrote a story about that. And in researching that, I came across Caster Semenya. And I had sort of heard about Caster when the whole thing went down in 2009. But I didn't really, I think I saw headlines and was like, I don't understand what that means. Like all of this, like, is she a woman? I was like, what? And in the research about Oscar Pistorius and this unfair advantage, I sort of got back into reading about Caster. And I remember thinking like, this is crazy. Like the fact that we're like talking about this, the fact that this woman who's 18 in 2009 bursts onto the scene, kills it, right? Runs an incredible 800 meters in the world championships in Berlin in 2009. And instead of being like, wow, what an incredible talent. Like this is so exciting. We're having people say she is maybe a woman, but not 100%. We're having people say like, we need to check her, like her internal organ. Like it's like all of this stuff where you're like, what are we, like, what is this? What does this mean? Why are people saying this? And then from there, it was just like a 10-year process of researching it. I've been pitching it for an embarrassingly long amount of time to various like publications and finally have managed to get a distributor for it. But when I was at 30 for 30, I tried to get them to do a story about this. And I think it's tough because like, as you know, sports media, not so good at the gender, you know?
Yeah. Can you believe it?
I know it's going to shock you to hear this. But also then like all the sort of traditional, more like narrative audio documentary places, bless them, don't like sports.
Right.
They're like, we're not into sports. And so I think honestly, this now is really the first time I would have been able to sell it because there's this moment in women's sports where like there is this narrative and people are interested in, places are sort of realizing that actually everybody watches women's sports, as you have discussed.
Yes.
Podcast, hashtag together. And so I'm very thankful that they did, but it was definitely a long, long process.
It's so good. I'm just saying it again.
It is so good. I know. And is every episode coming out at once, or is it a like?
It's 2 episodes a week, so it's Monday, Thursday, starting the 15th, and so it's like the 15th, 18th, 22nd, 25th until August 1st, and then I go to Paris to the Olympics, which I'm very excited about.
Okay.
Yes. And I do not have a press pass, so I'm just there like gallivanting on my own, pretending that I am definitely not doing any media of any kind because I don't technically have any kind of authority to do so. But I will be there, and I'll be watching the women's 100 and 200 meter final, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
So are there athletes that you've been following that, do we know, are going to be in Paris? Or
unfortunately, none of them were able to make it
to
Paris. The drugs are real, like the side effects of these. I mean, we can't say 100% conclusively that like because of these medications they were not able to qualify.
Right.
But we have, Christine Boma, for example, 200 meter silver medal winner in Tokyo, really like should be part of this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Should at least been able to kind of get sort of to qualify. And she wasn't able to run a qualifying time. She's been taking these medications. They've been sort of messing with her body. She's coming back from an injury. She's coming back from being away for a while, which I think is the other thing is, these rules have sidelined these athletes for a long time, about a year. It's really hard to come back after not training for a year, right? Like regardless. And so there's all of these things. I think also just the pressure on her has been so immense because she is the most high profile of these athletes who is trying to make it back and everybody's watching her. And it's kind of a like damned if you do, damned if you don't situation where if she doesn't perform well, it's like, aha, see, now that she's lowered her testosterone, there you go. It's like she had this quote unquote unfair advantage. If she does perform well, then it's like, well, like clearly she has an unfair advantage. So it's not, and you're just like, there's sort of no winning for her.
It's if the witch doesn't drown.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was so interesting about it is that, as you said, sports media hasn't read like a Judith Butler book, and needs to. But one of the announcers outed Christine as a DSD athlete.
And it's tough because, these are women who really had no idea there was anything different about them until they get a phone call from some random man they've never met, right? Saying, we need to test you. We need to sort of see what's going on. They're suddenly being told that they have this thing that they've never heard of before. There's nothing wrong with them, right? These are women who, they've lived their whole lives like this. They're clearly quite healthy. They are literal Olympians,
Right.
They're doing fine. And they're being told, well, actually, science says that you're not really a woman, or you have this, that, and the other thing. And almost all the women I talked to for this series, not just Christine, are just totally baffled by this. Cause they're what, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. You get this phone call and, the current set of policies, to my knowledge, only impacts Black and brown women from the global South. I have not heard of a single woman.
Yeah. We were going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And there are some reasons for that are there. The main reason is just basically racism.
Right.
There are other reasons for it too, that sort of boil down to racism in terms of inequality in healthcare and all sorts of things. So you have these women who have, lived their whole lives and are totally normal and have never had a single question about their sex or gender, and are suddenly being told, actually, we know things about you that you don't know about yourself. And actually, you have to do this thing. And now we're going to talk about it on live television every time you come up.
How scary.
It's
terrifying. And overwhelming.
Yeah. And at 18, what? I can't imagine having to try to process that while you're also an elite athlete.
Yeah. Right. And you have to stop training.
Yeah.
Right. You have to take these medications that we don't really know what they do. You don't know what they're for. You don't need them. You don't want them. It's an injection, right? Which a lot of people don't like, which fair enough, right? That sucks. There are side effects. It's a really, and then you have the doctors who are working with these athletes who are basically violating medical ethics, but are doing so because these athletes want to run. And so they're put in a really awful situation, right? It's just a lose-lose for everybody involved.
One of the things I love about your podcast is how you mirror history to today. And now we're doing these really intense medical interventions. But you talk a lot about the balanced theory as well. Can you talk a little bit? I found that fascinating. And also just the way we as a society / men have found ways to police hormone levels, performance, everything within people.
Yeah. Balance theory is such a fun one. So right now we have, and I think that there's a lot of conversation to be had about whether this is truly the right way to think about ourselves and our bodies. But I think that there is this kind of sense even in the popular culture that there's sex and there's gender, and they're totally different and they are not connected at all, which okay. I'm not, they're probably more connected than, the body is real, right? Otherwise gender affirming care wouldn't be a thing, Yeah, right. But in the 1920s and 30s, that is not, they don't have any kind of conception of a difference between sex and gender. They also don't really have any kind of popular conception of sex chromosomes, right? XX, XY, this idea that when you're born, you have certain kinds of biological configurations. None of that is really in the picture. What they have instead is, and this is mostly in the West, what they have instead is balance theory, which is this idea that every person is born with some mixture of male and female inside of their body. And you can be a 65% woman, or a 58% woman, or a 99% woman, and you're super feminine or whatever. But also this idea that the things you do in your life can change that balance. And so if you are already kind of a cuspy female, 65%, and you
female cusp, okay.
Female cusp, yeah.
Yes.
And you work out a lot, you do sports, you can actually sort of essentially become male, flip over and turn over. And this is, this can also happen. It's super interesting. Actually, there's a great book called The Other Olympians by Michael Waters that just came out recently that talks about this a lot, which I highly recommend.
Yes.
There's also this idea that if you get really sick, right, this can happen. And so you see essentially trans people in local newspapers throughout this period of time where there'll be just a local news story that's Jane got real sick and turned into Johnny, and everyone's cool, that's fine, we're good with that. It just seemed it was a thing that could happen. Sometimes if you get really sick, this can happen to you. And it's so interesting to me in part because like, obviously this idea of like, there's some mixture of stuff inside of us and the balance, whatever. But in some ways, this is actually kind of more accurate rather than the like super hardcore sex binary that people talk about today, that like there is a spectrum. There is variation. Like there is, it's not this like immutable thing that like you are one or the other and that is it. And so part of me is like, can we bring back balance theory? I'm into that actually.
I know when you were first talking about it, I was like, okay, these old science men were kind of getting at something kind of interesting. And that feels more aligned with what we have started to talk more about. But then they use it in a violent way.
Yeah, I know. It's like so close yet
it's
so far.
It's
you know?
so close. Well, it's the same with like, we're going to make you change your hormones, but it's not going to be the way that a trans person would like.
But not in a cool way.
Not in a cool trans way. We're not going to like offer it to the people who've kind of been waiting in line. We're just going to kind of do it. It's like, we're just this much off, and that much is a lot.
Yeah. Turns out not great. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it is wild. There were so many things in science history, just in general, even outside of the story, where you read it and you're like, ooh, buddy, you're so close. You know?
Yeah.
What were some of the most like, surprising and or eye-opening things you found out while working on Tested?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one that I always think about is just the fact that from 1966 to 1999, so like a full-on 30 years, every single woman at the elite level at the Olympics had to get sex tested and carry around a little card that looks like your driver's license that says like, I'm a female, and you had to bring it with you if you wanted to compete.
And there's never been
no idea.
a form of that on the male side.
No.
Not at all.
No.
I want to see your testosterone levels, guys.
It
varies.
Yeah, no, because the idea is that of course, women are worse at sports. And so if a woman tried to pretend to be a man and compete, it wouldn't matter because she wouldn't win. The funny thing about that is, right, there's this idea of like, oh, we have to catch these what they call masquerading males, right? These men who are going to pretend to be women to compete, which again has never been a verified case at the elite level that I've ever been able to track down. But of course, we all know about very famous cases of women pretending to be men to compete because they weren't allowed, right? Like in marathon or whatever, And so there's all of that, which is sort of very funny to me. But yeah, I think that like and I've seen a bunch of these cards, and it's like your Blockbuster card that you're like, here I am, I'm a woman, and if you don't bring it, you can't compete. And I talked to a woman who forgot her card at home because she was like moving houses, and like, moving is horrible and you can't keep track of anything. Forgot her card and was not allowed to compete because she didn't have her card. And it's just like, what are we doing?
Just a design question.
Yes.
What do these cards look like? Like, are they like almost like driver's license? Very like
they look like your driver's license. They have your little photo. They have your photo. They have your date of birth. They usually have like some iconography for like whatever Olympics it is, right? Like, whatever. And then they say like female.
Are they pink?
Are they pink, and are they?
They're not pink. They're not pink. But often the sign to go to the gender verification tent or the sex testing tent often has like flowers on it.
And like,
thank God,
cursive writing.
I know.
Just like
beautiful, they just like hang tampons from the bottom. Yeah.
So, okay, just to clarify, so everyone was tested. So now the athletes that are being asked to test, are they just being just picked because of sexism, racism, and transphobia?
Yeah, I mean, yes. So now it is not that every single female athlete is being tested.
Yeah,
right.
It is now what some people have referred to as a challenge system, which basically means that any athlete who raises suspicion, and again, this is all always very vague, right? Like, what does that mean? It's like the Jennifer Lawrence gift. Like, what do you mean? And like the athletes that tend to be investigated, as far as I can tell from my reporting, and there may be that I don't know about. It's usually a combination of things. They're very fast. They have some maybe slightly androgynous look to them, and they are black. Yep, basically is the common denominator across these the women who have been challenged and who have been impacted by these regulations. And there is, World Athletics has repeatedly said, there's nothing in the policy that says anything about race. There's nothing in the policy that says anything about, this. And so, of course, it's not racist. And I not to like let them off the hook, because in no way do you have to hand it to them. But like, I don't think they're like, and now we're going to go out and like, get all the African runners or whatever, but they're just like not grappling with the realities of the impact of a policy. I think it's just very easy. I've been watching the track and field trials, right? And America's like USA, which is, great for those athletes. But there's a huge engine behind these athletes that is like sticking up for them and talking about them. And I really do think that it would be a different conversation if the athletes who are being impacted were from the United States.
Well, two things. I don't know that they would dare try an athlete from America. And also, we now have a non-binary person in track and field, which is fucking phenomenal. So it's all Iconic. Of these like there's wins and the loss, like we got them all together at once, but I'm so excited for them and to watch them this summer in Paris.
I'm so so I love to watch them race also because that kick is unreal, just to watch them be like, and now I'm just gonna show up out of nowhere and just wild. Well, no, I mean it's like, and I think the U.S. has like a really great variety of athletes, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite athletes on the track and field scene right now is Raven Saunders. I don't know if you know.
Obsessed. We're obsessed
with Raven.
I have to it's a lot. Some of those workout videos, I'm just like, I have to sit down. I have
You're
to lay
like
down
shot
now.
put me.
Shot put me
I would like
anytime.
I'm available for practice sessions.
I am literally anytime.
Well, that leads into our most important question.
Yes.
Which is, who would you most want to be power slapped by?
Oh, I mean, definitely Raven. Have I thought about this extensively? Yes. Am I ready for this question? 100%.
Yes. Okay, good.
Perfect
good.
segue. No hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah. The other person that I would think about is a person who maybe is less well known, and I'll make a pitch for you all and your listeners to get into women's professional volleyball. I don't know if you've been like watching the Pro Volleyball League at all.
No.
So there is a new professional volleyball federation in the United States. Mostly, if you play college volleyball on the women's side, who cares about the men? You basically have to leave the United States if you want to like have a professional career. And there's been a push to have a pro volleyball league in the U.S. And there is a league that sort of had their first season last year, and they're actually currently in the signings of new players. And so I've been like on Instagram, like following who's getting signed where. But there is an incredible player who plays the Atlanta Vibe named Lecator Member Monet, who is like, I love a volleyball player who's like short but can jump an unreal height. So she's like short. I mean, I'm short. She's like 5'6" or 5'7", but she can hit like, I think it's like 12-1 or something like that. She's like unreal, and it's her quads. Listen, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle.
Height is a state of mind.
Height is a state of mind.
Exactly. Also, her family shows up to the games, and they are so hype, and it's incredible.
We have to check this out.
We absolutely have to check this out.
Yeah. Listen, she's great. I would let her power slap me for sure.
Good. And I hope
that
happens.
Again, and what the team you said, Atlanta Vibe.
It's Lecator Member Monet, and it's Atlanta Vibe, the Professional Volleyball Federation. And they are in the off season now, but they'll be playing again. And then the women's college volleyball is starting up in the fall. But yeah, I've gotten really into volleyball recently. It's been my
love it.
Rose, what I see for you is that Raven shot puts you, and then Lecator spikes you down.
It's like bump spike. Exactly. That's what I want. I will happily die that way.
And then you're just smiling and crying and you pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a beautiful image.
Yeah. And what I would say sophisticated way to end this interview. Amazing.
Cannot wait to listen to the rest of the episodes.
We are hooked.
Yes, we really are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You knocked that out of the park.
It was really fun talking to them.
Honestly,
they were so...
The podcast is so fucking good.
It's so good, and I learned so much, and I guess I just hate the IOC.
Yes, same.
All these governing bodies who are governing bodies.
Okay, put it on a tote.
Okay.
Put it on a tote.
Can't stand them.
Well, great. And we're going to have the first episode linked in our show notes.
We'll be back with a game.
Jocular.
Okay, and we're back, and we don't know shit about this game. Producer Harry wants to keep us in the dark and has asked that he explain it to us.
You've had the prep for a while now?
No, I haven't.
It's
Please
sitting in
go.
front of you. Earlier you said, I don't want to
The
know
only
anything about
black
this
reason
game.
he's
out.
allowed to be here is because
Why
he's
is
gay.
It's
Harry? Why
blacked
is
out. I can't
everything
see it.
redacted? And
Yeah.
like this is not top
That's just good
secret.
producing. It's just good producing. Okay, so I had the idea for this game.
Yawn.
And I want to say, it might not work. I don't know if it's going to work.
Okay, great.
Like
Okay.
fundamentally.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, sports announcing, eh?
Yes.
There's two types of commentary, right? Play-by-play, and then there's sort of color commentary, which kind of gives more the vibe of what's going on, the emotion and feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, just
So
none of you know what I mean. It's just
I'm going to play a clip of a sports thing
Yep.
moment, and you're going to do your best to commentate it.
I love it.
And the listeners, they're not going to see these clips because they're only listening.
Oh, we have to talk.
So you got to make sure that they're getting the same experience, that it's not just dead air, that it's a rewarding experience for everyone.
Wow.
That's-
Okay.
I love this.
This feels like an audition.
It does feel like an audition.
There are no stakes.
Oh, well, I'm
Well, it
auditioning to be on an NBC commentator.
Yeah, okay.
Move over, Bob
Commentator.
So
Costas.
okay.
Let's go with
Wait. Sorry. What if I'm not kidding at all. What if someone does sound effects? What if the third person does sound
That's
effects?
great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
If
love
it's color commentary, play by play, and then someone's doing like, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Oh wow, I've got it. I'm a folio artist.
Do you want to pick a clip from the
I
list?
want you to surprise us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. Here we go. New technology for jocular.
Okay, here we go. Oh wow. Okay, we've got
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the World Cup. We took it away in the middle of the penalty kicks. And it's Brandy Chastain
And
into
she,
the top corner.
Oh, she just took her shirt off. Gonna have to
Oh my
censor
God.
that.
Oh, and all of her friends.
And the flyover states.
I feel like you could just feel every young girl in the nation turn gay.
How did that go, Harry?
We did a bad job.
Let's try it again.
The same clip?
No.
No, different
Different
clip.
clip.
But how did we do?
We did.
I think you did
bad.
great. I think it was just we kind of just jumped into it.
And
this clip didn't have enough ramping up.
Because it was
So
literally just the kick.
It was,
It was just the kick.
Can we do it again? Can we do that one again? Because I feel like that's a good intro one, and it should just be two at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering if it should just be one at a time.
I know.
So we're not talking over each other.
Okay, cool. Let's do one
Yeah.
at a time. And Tian, you've got this.
Okay, I've got it.
Details, Tian.
Okay,
So here's that clip again.
here we go. Oh, God, welcome back to the penalty kicks of the World Cup. Brandy Chastain, 5'7", dirty blonde hair, scores! Into the corner, takes her shirt off. Yeah, I think that's going to make me gay. All her friends came around to celebrate with her at the end of the shot. There's a man in a vest, don't know who he is. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. He doesn't belong in there.
Tian,
Sorry.
incredible job.
That was really great. I
Thank
know what
you.
happened.
Would you consider that more play-by-play or color commentary?
Color.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of color for me.
Okay, Katie, do you want to go next?
Yes.
All right.
I'm closing my eyes. I don't want to see what you're picking.
Okay, here it is. That next clip.
Welcome back to the next clip. We've got a snowboarder named Peekaboo Street in 2018. She's getting ready. She seems a little winded, a little bit tired. I think this weather is getting to her here in South Korea. Here she goes. She's waiting. Uh-oh. We're seeing some issues on the slope. Having a few people come out and check it. And they're asking her to hide her hair, and she won't. We're not sure why. And there she goes. Fast, not slow. And so she's kind of in a tube. She's doing the tube thing now that is similar to a skateboard, but instead, idiots decide to make it icy. There she goes. Peekaboo Street.
All right.
What did you all think?
You
So,
know,
Katie, that was
Kate-
Chloe Kim.
yeah. So Peekaboo Street is white, and Chloe Kim is Asian.
Yeah. I forgot about
just
Chloe
yeah,
Kim.
just
I just picked the
I know
winter
a snow
sport name.
sport athlete.
I almost said Shaun White.
That
So,
Would have been more
accurate
Accurate.
sport wise.
you know what? I will say there were there were some things in there I enjoyed.
Yeah, I liked your general disdain for the winter.
For the sport
For
itself.
the sport itself.
I love the
didn't-
part where you said they're asking her to hide
Her hair.
She won't.
Yeah.
So,
That was
You think that
beautiful.
was more color commentary?
I think that was more
Play
color
by play?
commentary.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, weird.
Yeah. I kind of loved that you said that it was Peekaboo Street.
Because she skis. She doesn't
Yeah,
snowboard.
she skis and she's from like 1990.
I know, she's the only Winter Olympian I could think of.
no, I was impressed by that name recall.
Thank
Even if
you.
it
Yeah.
wasn't right.
And she rules.
Yeah, she does rule.
Okay.
I'm ready. Okay, Simone Biles is walking up to the big mattress. Pointed feet. She's walking up with her hands in the air. She go, oh, yes. Bending over, excited. Listen, there's no music for this event. Simone decided she wanted to do it in silence. She is whipping those hands around, pointing to the judges. So look at me, bitch. She running, flipping in the air. Oh, and so that's going to be a lot of spins, folks. She lands on another little mattress on top of the biggest mattress of all. Now she's touching her knee again. Little dance, folks, okay? Spin around. Yeah, she's running again, folks. And she's up in the air. Yeah, that was about 12 feet in the air, motherfuckers. You guys, she's wearing a swimsuit. We never know when the mattress can become water. She's on the ground. She's spinning around. She's kind of dancing, folks. It would be better with music, but once again, Simone chose to do this in silence. Now she's just stretching. Little spin.
that was a combination of color and
Play by play. Because we never know when the mattress is going to turn to water.
No, we never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never know.
We never know that.
If you guys could rate me, what do you think? Like out of 5?
Probably
Did you say rate? I hope you said rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't say if you guys.
Yeah, Katie. What? So,
yeah, if you guys could please.
I'm sorry. We have absolutely taken back the night in another episode of this, and so I will not tolerate that.
Well, I'm gonna grade you 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I think I can say that this game was, there's a lot of technical issues. I think it's going to come back stronger next time, but I do have one more clip that I think you all can join in.
Okay,
on.
great.
Okay.
And I will warn you, when I saw it, it really upset me.
Oh my god.
Okay, the final clip.
Wow.
All right, we're seeing
Power slap.
power slapping.
Clappers are
They are holding their
okay.
batons. They are approaching we're going to call it the stand.
They
and they're
both
getting
have,
clapped.
I think,
Mouth guards
big
or
mouth guards
braces?
I think they have big, and there's a bunch of men standing around them too.
Those are referees. They are setting their feet right now. If they move their feet at all, they are disqualified.
Okay, we've got one getting ready to slap. She's cupping her hand and she's cupping her face
Why
very
is
gently.
she smiling
Direct
so
eye
much?
contact.
And a slap! She's on the ground.
Oh my
She's-
god.
She's on the ground. She's stunned. Her.
First slap straight to the frickin' side of the head.
Okay.
She
Oh my God.
is
Honestly,
out.
she's out. And you know what? This is what you can expect from power slapping. Okay.
I want to
The
replay.
audience is pretty much all white men.
And
The
they're
audience really freaks me out.
the audience are they're hard. They all
Oh my God.
They're
Uh,
putting ice underneath of her head.
because
she done been slapped
she's
so hard.
unconscious.
Okay, here's my thing: is there were 2 male refs behind
4.
her
and didn't catch her.
to catch her, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They let her fall.
Well, men are stupid.
Yeah. Did
What?
she get back up?
Yeah.
Watching-
eventually, and
God,
she lives a
okay.
happy life.
I know we joke about power slapping and how much we love it, but that was honestly
Right?
so disturbing to see.
That was so disturbing because she was so happy to get slapped.
And then all the men in the crowd who have to go to like a MAGA convention later that night are so excited to be there.
will you
I
show
just
me when she
don't-
gets up?
I don't understand. Like, the sport is so inherently unfair because the person who slaps first has such an advantage.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's like all just like a coin toss or a coin toss rather.
I mean,
Ugh.
I love that you're upset about the advantage of the first slap
well, because
and
they're
not-
this is I
and
feel,
not the slap.
I feel the
itself.
same way about violent sports. I feel the same way about football. If you're signing up for the sport because you really love it and you like the violence, which I think some people do, including myself. I loved being physical in sports. I loved it. I really found it
I
thrilling.
like that though.
These people really like it. It's like the people that train martial arts for their whole life. Like they can take a hit. This is just wild because I just don't find it fair. I just don't find it fair.
Can I see her get back up?
Sure.
We can keep talking. I just need to
I don't
see
find
I
it.
would straight up find it more impressive if they had some kind of pad on their hand. Like, I don't know. Or even, I don't know.
Can they
dude.
wear a helmet?
Can they wear a helmet? Can they? That was
Or if
very
they could measure
hard
the power
to
of the
watch.
slap.
Yeah, kind of like that arcade game where you go in and
Yes.
punch a boxing bag to see how.
But the
Or
amount
like-
of brain damage that this is gonna accrue, like,
No, that
Look at her smile.
no, she's out.
she's out.
That's so
and like rigor
tough.
fucking mortis, like
Oof.
out.
Oh,
Is she back up?
She is back up.
Hey, wait, and she won?
No. They're just holding.
She won.
No, it's like
No.
I was waiting him to like put her hand up. She didn't even get a slap in.
No, once if you pass out, you lose.
I still stand by us asking people whether or not they want to be power slapped.
yeah.
But damn, is that really hard to watch?
No, it's not. It's not a fun sport to watch.
That is tough.
Anyway, thanks for picking this one.
That's how you play queermentary.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That was pretty queer of us, though. We just like watched a thing that like normally people would be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And we were like so systematically.
Just
Yeah.
Let's break this
undercutting
down.
it. Oh my
Also,
god.
like, what a sport to automatically be like, yeah, I want to see women do this. Like, no gatekeeping.
Bro, but the videos of the men, it's even more insane.
no,
people
they're
like-
so disturbing.
Also, they shouldn't be allowed to have beards. All of the fucking dudes that are getting power slapped have beards. It's so crazy. Why? You get to wear a little like
a little
face
sweater,
mask,
a little face
and
sweater.
the women are out here just fucking raw dogging it.
Yeah, they should be allowed to have like a cozy.
Yeah, they
koozie on
should be
their
able
face.
to wear a sort of like a beard wig.
Yeah.
Maybe they should put lube on their hands so it doesn't like. So
I mean,
it slides off fast.
That might even
Okay,
hurt
the
more.
lube-
Jesus Christ.
If we come back to it, and I do agree.
Okay,
pinch.
you know, before we go,
It shouldn't pinch if you're lubing right.
we wanted to read some very lovely reviews from our jock straps.
Okay.
Here are some of the ones we've liked. Yeah, I'm pivoting hard because I'm fully disturbed from the power slapping.
Yeah, sorry to really fuck up the vibe at the end.
Jesus. Okay.
Leave it to a man.
This one from Duplo Doc says, if you were as lucky as I was and had the sweetest, gayest coaches growing up, you'll feel nostalgic and right at home. If you didn't, you'll feel healed. That's so sweet.
Love you.
I
thank
love
you
that.
I thank you so much because I did not have the sweetest, gayest coaches, and this is healing for me.
You guys, we love hearing from you.
We really do.
So please email us at jocularpod@hyperobjectindustries.com. Leave us little love notes. Tell us what you love. And turn us on to the next gay sport. We're excited.
Please.
Out-gay us.
You can never outgay us.
No, you can't.
Yeah, sorry, you
Yeah,
can't.
you can't.
You
out-gay
really
us.
You
can't.
can't outgay
It's
us.
impossible.
Come on.
Come on, baby. You can't outgay us.
baby.
outgay me.
You can't outgay
You
us.
come,
fucking
you
house.
come here to try it out, gay me.
In front of my dad.
Jocular is hosted by ER Fightmaster, Tian Tran, and Katie Kershaw. Jocular is a production of Hyperobject Industries with Metal Arc Media and was produced by Harry Nelson. Original music and theme are by Nick Gage and ER Fightmaster. Our executive producers are Claire Slaughter, Harry Nelson, Dan Libetard, and Adam McKay.